of Aristoi Classical Academy's production of Antigone. We are so excited to see so many wonderful faces here tonight. A couple of announcements before we get started. Most of us these days have one of these devices. Mine's too far in my pocket. It's a cell phone. They're flat. They look like this. Please make sure that they are turned to silent or off. We know emergencies happen. Totally understand. Please do move into our lobby if you do have any business you need to take care of. It's an emergency. Believe it or not, those phones act like little personal spotlights, and my actors get really jealous if they see like spotlights in the audience. Another announcement, if you do have small children with you, we know sometimes they get a little bit fidgety. If you have one that just needs a moment, again, we have a beautiful lobby, or if you have a baby that needs some walking, please feel free to stay inside if they're staying relatively quiet and walk them on the sides. I'm not seeing a lot of carriages tonight, so it may not be an issue. Also, I did want to give a little bit of a content warning. It is a Greek tragedy, so obviously it does not have a happy ending. I'm sorry, spoiler alerts. Towards the second half, we do have one image of a shadow puppet that is hanging, so if you have a child that you feel might not handle that well, it is towards the end of the second act of the play, and again, you can feel free to have them in or out. Nothing majorly graphic happens. There are just references to people die. So I wanted everybody to know that before we get started. Other than that, there will be one 10 to 15-minute intermission if we have a very long line for our restrooms in the middle of the play. There will be an opportunity to take photos with our actors afterwards, and we will have our fantastic raffle at the end of the show. So if you didn't get a chance to see our prizes and get your tickets, you may of course do that during intermission. Thank you so much and enjoy the show.
Lost two brothers, a double death in a single hour, and that the Argive army fled in the night. But beyond this, nothing.
I thought so. And that is why I wanted you to come out here with me. Come, there is something we must do.
Why do you speak so strangely?
Listen, Ismene. Creon buried our brother Antigone with military honors, gave him a soldier's funeral, and it was right that he should. But Polynices, who fought as bravely and died as miserably, they say that Creon has sworn no one shall bury him, no one mourn for him, and that his body must lie in the fields, a sweet treasure for carrion birds to find as they search for food. That is what they say, and our good King Creon is coming here to announce it publicly. And the penalty? Stoning to death in the public square. There it is. And now you can prove what you are, a true sister or a traitor to your family.
And Antigone, you are mad. What could I possibly do?
You must decide whether you will help me or not.
I do not understand. Help you in what?
Ismene, I am going to bury him.
Bury him?
Yes, will you come?
You have just said the new law forbids it.
Yes, but he is my brother, and he is your brother too.
But think of the danger. Think of what Creon will do.
Creon is not strong enough to stand in my way.
Ah, sister. Oedipus died, everyone hating him for what his own search brought to life. His eyes ripped out by his own hand. And Iocaste died, his mother and wife at once. She twisted the cords that took her own life. And our two brothers died, each killed by the other sword. And we are left. But oh, Antigone, think how much more terrible than these our own deaths will be if we should go against Creon and do what he has forbidden. We are only women, Antigone. We cannot fight with men. The law is strong. We must give in to the law. In this thing, and in worse. I beg the dead to forgive me, but I am helpless. I must yield to those in authority. And besides, I think it is dangerous business to always be meddling.
If that is what you think, I should not want you, even if you ask to come. You have made your choice, and you can be what you want to be. But as for me, I will bury my brother. And if it means death, I say that this crime is holy. I shall lie down with him in death, and be as dear to him as he is to me. It is the dead, not the living, who make the longest demand. We die forever. You may do as you like, since apparently the law of the gods mean nothing to you. They mean a great deal to you.
But I have no strength to go about breaking laws that were made for the public good.
That must be your excuse, I suppose. But as for me, I will bury the brother I love.
But no one must hear this. You must tell no one. I will keep it a secret, I promise.
Oh, tell it. Tell everyone. Think how they'll hate you when it all comes out that you knew about it all this time.
So fiery, you should be cold with fear.
Perhaps, but I'm doing only what I must.
But can you do it? Say that you cannot.
Very well. When my strength gives out, I shall do no more.
Impossible things should not be tried at all.
Go away, Ismene! I shall be hating you soon. And the dead will too, for your words are hateful. Leave me my foolish plan. And if it means death, it shall not be the worst of deaths. Death without honor.
Go then, if you feel you must. You are unwise. But a loyal friend indeed to those who love you.
Now the long blade of the sun, lying level east to west, touches with glory feeds of the seven gates. Open, unlimited eye of golden day. O marching light across the eddying rush of Dirce stream, striking the white shields of the enemy, throw headlong backward to the blaze of morning. Polynices, their commander, rouse them with windy praises. He, the wild eagle, screaming insults above our land. His wings, their shields of snow. His crest, their martial helms. Against our seven gates in a yawning ring, the famished spears came onward in the night. But before his jaws were sated with our blood, world high fire took the garland of our towers. He was thrown back, and as he turned, great Thebes, no tender victim for his noisy power, rose the dragon behind him, shouting war.
For God hates utterly the bray of bragging tongues. And when he beheld their smiling, the swagger of their golden helms, the frown of his thunder blasted their first man from our walls. We
Heard a shout of triumph, high in the air, turned to a scream. Far out in a flaming arc, he fell with his windy torch, and the earth struck him. And others, storming in fury, no less than his, found shock of death in the dusty joy of battle. Seven captains at seven gates, yielding their claiming arms to the gods, that bends the battle line and breaks it. These two only, brothers in blood, face to face in matchless rage, mirroring each the other's death, lashed in long combat. But now, in the beautiful morning of victory, let these of the many chariots sing for joy. With hearts of dancing, we'll take leave of war. Our temples shall be sweet with hymns of praise, and the long night shall echo with our chorus.
But now at last, our new king is coming. Creon of Thebes, Menocius his son. In this auspicious dawn of his reign, what are the new complexities that shifting fate has woven for him? What is his counsel? Why has he summoned the old men to hear him?
Gentlemen, I have the honor to inform you that our ship of state, which recent storms have threatened to destroy, has come safely to harbor at last, guided by the merciful wisdom of heaven. I have summoned you here this morning because I know that I can depend on you. Your devotion to King Linus was absolute. You never hesitated in your duty toward late ruler Oedipus, and when Oedipus died, your loyalty was transferred to his children. Unfortunately, as you know, his two sons, the princes Antigone and Polynices, have killed each other in battle, and I, as the next in blood, have succeeded to the full power of the throne. I am aware, of course, that no ruler can expect complete loyalty from his subjects until he has been tested in office. Nevertheless, I say to you at the very outset that I have nothing but contempt for the kind of governor who is afraid, for whatever reason, to follow the course that he knows is best for the state. And as for the man who sets private friendship above the public welfare, I have no use for him either. I call God the witness that if I saw my country heading to ruin, I should not be afraid to speak out plainly. And I need only remind you that I would never have any dealings with an enemy of the people. No one values friendship more highly than I, but we must remember that friends that live at the risk of wrecking our ship are not real friends at all. These are my principles, at any rate, and that is why I have made the following decision concerning the sons of Oedipus. Antigone, who died as a man should die, fighting for his country, is to be buried with full military honors, with all the ceremony that is usual in the greatest but his brother Polynices, who broke his exile to come back with fire and sword against his native city and the shrines of his father's god, whose one idea was to spill the blood of his wife and sell his own people into slavery. Polynices, I say, is to have no burial. No man is to touch him or say the least prayer for him. He shall lie on the flame unburied, and the birds and the scavenging dogs can do with him whatever they like. This is my command, and you can see the wisdom behind it. As long as I am king, no traitor is going to be honored with the loyal man. But whoever shows by word and by deed that he's on the side of the state, he shall have a respect for who is living, and my reverence for who is dead.
If that is your will, Creon, son of Menocius, you have the right to enforce it. We are yours.
That is my will. Take care that you do your part.
We are old men. Let the younger ones carry it out.
I do not mean that. The sentries have been appointed.
Then what is it you would have us do?
We will give no support whatsoever to anyone who breaks this law.
Only a crazy man is in love with death.
True, and death it is. Yet, money talks, and the wisest have sometimes been known to count a few coins too many.
I'll not say I'm out of breath from running, King. Because every time I thought about what I had to tell you, I felt like running back. And all the time a voice kept saying, "You fool, you're running straight into trouble." But then another voice, "Yes, but if you let someone else get the news to Creon first, it'll be even worse than that for you." But good sense won out. At least I hope it was good sense. And here I am with a story that makes no sense at all, but I'll tell it anyhow, because as they say, what's going to happen...
Come to the point! What have you to say?
I did not do it. I did not see you did it. You must not punish me for what someone else has done.
A comprehensive defense. More effective, perhaps, if I knew its purpose. Come, what is it?
A terrible thing. I don't know how to put it.
Out with it!
Well then, the dead man, Polynices. Someone knew dust on the slimy flesh. Someone has given it burial that way and gone.
And the man who dared do this?
I swear, I do not know. You must believe me. Listen, the ground was dry. There was no sign of digging. No, not a wheel crack in the dust. It was when they relieved us this morning, and one of them, the corporal, pointed to it. There it was, the body just mounded over with like dust. Not buried, really, but as if they covered it just enough for the ghost piece. And no sign of dogs or any wild animals that had been here. Then what a scene there was. Every man of us accusing the other. We all proved that the other man did it. We all proved that we could not have done it. We were ready to take hot iron in our hands, walk through fire, swear by all the gods. It was not I. I do not know who it was, but it was not I. Then, when this came to nothing, someone said a thing that made us stare down at the ground. You had to be told the news, and one of us had to tell it. So we threw the dice on the ground, and the bad luck fell to me. So here I am, no happier to be here than you are to have me. Nobody likes a man who brings bad news.
I have been wondering, King, could it be that the gods have done this?
Stop. Must you doddering wrecks get out of your heads entirely. The gods. Intolerable! The gods favored this corpse? Why? How had he served them? Tried to loot their temples, burn their images, yes, and the whole state and its laws with it. No, from the very beginning, there have been those who have whispered together, stiff-necked anarchists, putting their heads together, scheming against me in the alleys. These are the men, and they've bribed my own guard to do this thing. Money. There's nothing so demoralizing in the world as money. Down go your cities, homes gone, and men gone, honest hearts corrupted, crookedness of all kinds, and all for money. But you, I swear by God and by the throne of God, the man who has done this thing shall pay for it. Find that man, bring him here to me, or your death will be the least of your problems. I'll string you up alive, and there will be certain ways to help you discover your employer before you die. And the process may teach you a lesson you seem to have missed. The dearest profit is sometimes all too dear. That depends on the source. Do you understand me? A fortune won is often misfortune.
King, may I speak?
Your very voice distresses me.
Are you sure that it is my voice and not your conscience?
By God, he wants to analyze me now.
That's not what I say, but what has been done that hurts you.
You talk too much.
Maybe, but I've done nothing wrong.
Sold your soul for some silver, that's all you've done.
How dreadful it is when the right judge judges wrong.
Your figures of speech may entertain you now, but unless you bring me the man, they'll do you little good in the end.
Bring me the man. I'd like nothing better than bringing him the man. But bring him or not, you have seen the last of me here. At any rate, I am safe.
But none more wonderful than man. The storm gray sea yields to its proud. The huge crest bears him high.
The earth, holy and inexhaustible, is graven with shining furrows where his plows have gone year after year. The timeless labor of stallions.
Birds also, thought as rapid as air, he fashions to his good use. Statecraft is his, and his the skill that deflects the arrows of snow, the spears of winter rain from every wind.
He has made himself secure from all but one. In the late wind, death he cannot stand.
O clear intelligence, force beyond all measure. O fate of man working both good and evil.
When the laws are kept, how proudly the city stands.
When the laws are broken, what of this city then?
Never may the anarchic man find rest in my heart.
Never be it said that my
Never be it said that my thoughts are his thoughts.
This is the one who did it. We caught her in the very act of burying him. Where's Creon?
Just coming from the house.
What's happened? Why'd you come back so soon?
Oh, King, a man should never be too sure of anything. I would have sworn that you see the last of me here. Your anger frightened me so, and the things you threatened me with. But how would I be able to tell then that I'd be able to solve this case so soon? No dice throwing this time. I was only glad to come. This is the woman who did it. She is the guilty one. We caught her in the very act of burying her. Take her then. Question her. Judge her as you will. I am through with this whole thing and glad of it.
But this is Antigone. Why have you brought her here?
This is the woman who did it.
Is this the truth?
I saw her with my own eyes. What more can I say?
The details. Tell me quickly.
It was like this. After those terrible threats of yours, King, we went back and brushed the dust away from the body. The flesh was soft by now and stinky. So we sat on a hill to windward and kept guard. No napping this time. We kept each other awake. But nothing happened until the white round sun whirled in the center of the sky above us. Then suddenly, a storm of dust roared up from the earth, and the sky went out. The plain vanished with all its trees in the stinging dark. We closed our eyes and endured it. The whirlwind lasted a while, but it passed. And then we looked, and there was Antigone. I had seen a mother bird come back to a stripped nest. Heard her cry a broken note or two for a young one stolen. Just so, this girl came back to a stripped nest, and all her love's work wasted. She wept and cried on heaven to damn the hands that had done this thing. Then she took dust and sprinkled wine 3 times for her brother's ghost. We ran and took her at once, but she was not afraid, not even when we charged her with what she had done. This was a comfort to me, but also some displeasure, for it is a good thing to escape from death, but no great pleasure to bring death to a friend. Yet, as I always say, there is nothing more comfortable than your own safe skin.
And you, Antigone, with your head hanging, do you confess this thing?
I do. I deny nothing.
You may go. Tell me briefly. Have you heard my proclamation touching this matter?
It was public. Could I help hearing it?
And you dared defy the law?
Oh, I dared. It was not God's proclamation. That final justice that rules the world below makes no such laws. Your edict, King, was strong, but all your strength is weakness itself against the immoral, unrecorded laws of God. They are not merely now. They were and shall be operative forever, beyond man utterly. I knew I must die, even without your decree, for I am only mortal. And can anyone living, as I live, with evil all about me, think death less than a friend? But if I had left my brother lying in death unburied, I should have suffered. Now I do not. You smile at me. Oh, Creon, think me a fool if you like, but it may well be that a fool convicts me of folly.
Like father, like daughter, both headstrong, deaf to reason, she has never learned to yield.
She has much to learn. The inflexible heart breaks first, the toughest iron cracks first, and the wildest horses bend their necks at the pull of the smallest curb. Pride in a slave. This girl is guilty of a double insolence, breaking the given laws and boasting of it. Who's the man here, she or I, if this crime goes unpunished? Sister's child or more than sister's child, or closer yet in blood. She and her sister would bitter death for this. Go, arrest Ismene. I accuse her equally. You'll find her sniveling in the house there. Her mind's a traitor. Crimes kept in the dark cry for light, and the guardian brain shudders. But how much worse than this is brazen boasting of barefaced anarchy.
Creon, what more do you want than my death?
Nothing. That gives me everything.
Then I beg you, kill me. This talking is a great weariness, and your words are distasteful to me. And I am sure that mine seem so to you. And yet, they should not seem so. I should have praised and honored what I have done. All these men here would praise me. Were their lips not frozen shut with fear for you? Oh, the good fortune of kings. License to say and do whatever they please.
You're alone here in that opinion.
No, they are with me. But they keep their tongues in leash.
Maybe, but you're guilty and they're not.
There is no guilt in reverence for the dead.
But Antigone, was he not your brother too?
My brother too.
And you insult his memory.
The dead Meg would not say that I insulted.
He would, for you honor a traitor as much as him.
His own brother, traitor or not. equal in blood.
He made war on his country. Eteocles defended it.
Nevertheless, there are honors due all the dead.
But not the same for the wicked as for the just.
Oh, Creon, which of us can say what the gods hold wicked?
An enemy is an enemy, even dead.
It is my nature to join in love, not hate.
Go join them then! If you must have your love, find it in hell!
But see, his men come. Those tears are sisterly. Cloud of shadows arise, rains down gentle sorrow.
You too, Ismene, snake in my ordered house, sucking my blood stealthily, and all the time I never knew that these two sisters were aiming at my throne. Ismene, do you confess your share in this crime or deny it? Answer me!
Yes, if she will let me say so. I am guilty.
No, Ismene, you have no right to say so. You would not help me, and I will not have you help me.
But now I know what you meant, and I am here to join you, to take my share of the punishment.
The dead man and the gods who rule the dead know whose act this was. Words are not friends.
Do you refuse me, Antigone? I want to die with you. I too have a duty that I must discharge to them.
You will not lessen my death by sharing it.
What do I care for life when you are dead?
As Creon, you're always hanging on his opinions.
Laughing at me? Why, Antigone?
It is a joyless laughter, Ismene.
But I can do nothing?
Yes, save yourself. I shall not envy you. There are those who will praise you. I shall have honor too.
But we are equally guilty.
No more, Ismene! You are alive, but I belong to death.
Gentlemen, I beg you to observe these girls. One, it seems, has just now lost her mind. The other, it seems, never had a mind at all.
Grief teaches the steadiest minds to waver, King.
Yours certainly did when you assumed guilt with the guilty.
But how can I go on living without her?
You are. She's already dead.
Your own son's bride?
There are places enough for him to push his plow. I want no wicked women for my son.
Oh, dearest Haman, how your father wrongs you.
I've had enough of your childish talk of marriage.
Do you really intend to steal this girl from your son?
No. Death will do that for me.
Then she must die?
You dazzle me. But enough of this. You there, take them and guard them well, for they're but women, and even brave men run when they see death coming.
Fortunate is the man who has never tasted God's vengeance.
Where once the anger of heaven has struck, that house is shaken forever.
Damnation.
Damnation.
Damnation rises behind each child like a wave cresting out of the black northeast when the long darkness under sea roars up.
And burst strumming death upon the wind-whipped sand.
I have seen this gathering sorrow loom upon Oedipus's children generation from generation.
Generation from generation.
Takes the compulsive rage of the enemy god.
So lately this last flower of Oedipus's line drank the sunlight.
With now a passionate word and a handful of dust have closed up all its beauty.
What mortal arrogance transcends the wrath of Zeus? Sleep cannot lull him, nor the arrogant long months of the timeless gods. But he is young forever, in his house of the shining day of high Olympus. All that is and shall be, and all past is his.
No pride on earth is free, this curse of heaven.
Curse of heaven.
The straying dreams of men may bring them ghosts of joy.
But as they drowse, the waking embers burn them. Or they walk with fixed eyes as blind men walk.
But the ancient wisdom speaks for our own time.
Fate works most for woe.
For woe.
For woe.
For woe. And folly's fair show.
Man's little pleasure is the spring of sorrow.
But here is Haman, king, the last of all your sons.
The
Is it grief for Antigone that brings him here?
And bitterness of being robbed of his bride.
We shall soon see, and no need of diviners. Son, you've heard my final judgment on that girl. Have you come here hating me, or have you come with deference and with love, whatever I do?
I am your son, Father. You are my guide. You make things clear for me, and I obey you. No marriage means more to me than your continuing wisdom.
Good. That's the way to behave. Subordinate everything else, my son, to your father's will. This is what a man prays for, that he may get sons, attentive and dutiful, each one hating his father's enemies, honoring his father's friends. But if his sons fail him, if they turn out unprofitably, then what has he fathered but trouble for himself and amusement for the malicious? So you're right not to lose your head over this girl. Your pleasure with her would soon grow cold, Haman. Then you'd have a hellcat in bed and elsewhere. Let her find her husband in hell. Out of all the people in this city, only she has had contempt for my law and broken it. But do you want me to show myself weak before the people, or break my sworn word? No, and I will not. The woman dies. I suppose she'll plead family ties. Well, let her. If I permit my own family to rebel, how shall I earn the world's obedience? Show me the man who keeps his house in hand. He's fit for public authority. I'll have no dealings with lawbreakers, critics of the government. Whoever's chosen to govern should be obeyed, must be obeyed in all things, great and small, just and unjust. Oh, Haman, the man who knows how to obey, and that man only knows how to give commands when the time comes. You can count on him, no matter how fast the spears come. He's a good soldier. He'll stick it out. Anarchy. Anarchy. Show me a greater evil. This is why cities tumble and the great houses rain down. This is what scatters armies. No. Good lives are made so by discipline. We keep the laws and the lawmakers, and no woman shall seduce us. If we must lose, let's lose to a man at least. Is a woman stronger than we?
Unless time is rusting my wits. What you say, King, is said with point and dignity. Father, reason is God's crowning gift to man, and you are right to warn me against losing mine. I cannot say, I hope I should never want to say, that you have reasoned badly. Yet, there are other men who can reason, and their opinions might be helpful. You are not in a position to know everything that people say, or do, or what they feel. Your temper terrifies them. Everyone will only tell you what you want to hear, but I, at any rate, can listen, and have heard them muttering and whispering in the dark about this girl. They say that no woman has ever so unreasonably died so shameful a death for such a generous act. She covered her brother's body. Is this indecent? She kept him from dogs and vultures. Is this a crime? Death? She should have all the honor that we can give her. This is the way they talk out there in the city. You must believe me. Nothing is closer to me than your happiness. What could be closer? Must not any son value his father's fortune as his father does his? I beg you, do not be unchangeable. The person who believes that, the man who maintains that only he has the power to reason correctly, the gift to speak, the soul. A man like that, when you know him, turns out empty. It is not reason never to yield to reason. In flood time, you can see how some trees bend, and because they bend, even their twigs are safe, while stubborn trees are torn up, roots and all. The same thing happens in sailing. Make your sheet fast, never slacken, and over you go, head over heels and under, and there's your voyage. Forget you are angry. Let yourself be moved. I know I am young, but please, let me say this. The ideal condition would be that men are right by instinct, but since we are all too likely to go astray, the reasonable thing to do is learn from those who can teach.
You will do well to listen to the king, if what he says is simple. And you, Haman, must listen to your father. Both speak well.
You think it right for a man of my years and experience to go to school to a boy?
It is not right, if I am wrong. But if I am young and right, then what does my age matter?
You think it right to stand up for an anarchist?
Not at all. I pay no respect to criminals.
And she is not a criminal?
The city would deny it to a man.
And the city proposes to teach me how to rule?
Ah, Luke is talking like a boy now.
My voice is the one giving orders in this city.
It is no city if it takes orders from one voice.
The state is the king.
Yes, if the state is a desert.
This boy, it seems, has sold out to a woman.
If you are a woman, my only concern is for you.
Your concern? In a public brawl with your father?
How about you? In a public brawl with justice?
It's justice, when all that I do is within my rights?
You have no right to trample on God's right.
Fool! Adolescent fool taken in by a woman.
You'll never see me taken in by anything vile.
Every word you say is for her.
And for you, and for me, and for the gods under the earth.
You'll never marry her while she lives.
Then she must die. But her death will cause another.
Another? Have you lost your senses? Is this an open threat?
There is no threat in speaking to emptiness.
I swear you'll regret the superior tone of yours. You're the empty one.
If you were not my father, I'd say you were perverse.
You girl-struck fool, don't plant words with me.
I am sorry. You prefer silence.
Now I swear by God and by all the gods above, you'll watch it. I swear you shall. Bring her out. Bring the woman out. Let her die before his eyes.
No!
Here this instant, with her bridegroom beside her.
Not here. She will not die here, king. And you will never see my face again. Go on raving, as long as you've a friend to endure you.
Gone. Creon, a young man in the rage is dangerous.
Let him do, or dream to do, more than a man can. He shall not save these girls from death.
These girls? You have sentenced them both?
No, you're right. I'll not kill the one whose hands are clean.
But Antigone?
I'll carry her out far into the wilderness and lock her, living in a vault of stone. She shall have food, as the custom is, to absolve the state of her death. There let her pray to the gods of hell. They're her only gods. Perhaps they'll show her an escape from death. Or she may learn, though late, that piety shown the dead is pity in vain.